how old would I be on there? Probably 18 months. And now Raymond would be about 3. Look at his curls as well, bless him. I had straight and he had curls. So this is the one and only first picture I've got of me as a little girl sitting there with my brother. I think I was about 18 months and he'd be 3. Taken in a studio, and that's the only one I've got. Okay. So now, this is this picture is at the back of Hill Street, where we looked. If we'd have looked over the gate, we'd have seen this picture. That's Dad in his military uniform, posing.
And where was that taken?
Where was that taken? Was that in Auntie's back garden? That might have been in Auntie Jean's back garden.
I'm not sure.
And that's a picture before he went. That was just down in the fields, wasn't it?
Where we were today.
Back of where we were today. Yes. And that's Sir Raymond, so you can pass. That's Jack Pettit. Finished up as he'd been in the forces, and when he was demobbed, he'd got nowhere to go. He hadn't got a home to call his own. He was an orphan boy from the north, and he'd done his service, and my mum said, "Oh, come and stay with us, we'll find you a bed." So he stayed with us. That's how Margaret, would you believe, in glasses. Look at me, I was started to work.
I can see Caroline or Victoria when you're there.
Really? What is
that's you and I, is it?
Yeah.
And that's Brooklands holiday camp. Prescott and Raymond and I went there just before we went in the forces. For a week.
Do you want me to turn over one?
Sure, yeah.
Now he's Dad and his forces people, and look how fat he got, and I thought, oh no, he's going to be big and fat like his dad. That's me in my first army uniform, and these were like the cages where my father first started work with his chickens. Yes, he had his chickens and his first turkeys when we were there, didn't he?
Yes.
That's military again. Oh yes.
Who is guys again? Have you ever seen?
That's Provost Sergeant, and that's a mate of mine.
The little chap was a South, wasn't he?
This big fat fella somewhere.
I know, yeah, he
Jock
did get
Wilton.
fat.
He's obviously Scott. That's me.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Jock.
Jock, yeah.
So was he the one in the Black Watch? The one you said?
No.
So was this your biggest, you think?
Yes, I
Yeah, he
think
put
so.
weight on when he first went in the army, and by the time he came out he'd lost it. It was just the different way of eating and the sort of food he was eating, and you know, and he did put a lot of weight on. That's how Raymond and me at the back of Hill Street. Raymond on his own, and this is my mum. Both in our little dresses with open fronts, and then inside you had what they called a front, which was a nice little silk affair with the crest in, so it's separated, you know, and you could see. But full-length dresses we never had. The first tunic and skirt I had was for when I got married. Now this is my mum and dad and Derek and Margaret on the pier at Blackpool, and that is Jean and Auntie Jean. That's the one we're talking about tonight. Yeah. She hadn't got a care in the world, that one, and she'd had a terrible life. Now I think this is Margaret and me at Hill Street, by the front window. There's Bill Chadwick.
Yeah, I recognise my name.
Yes, and your dad, wasn't it? See what lounges there were, can't you? We had an officer that came from Gorsinen, and the band came from Gorsinen to Newcastle, and then I I went with Stella. This is Stella somewhere as well on here. There's Stella. And we went to stay with the Major's mum and her little dog in Gosynan.
Where's Gosynan?
In South Wales.
Oh, right, okay.
And one of the bandsmen, he was really, really nice man, and by the time we went, he'd passed away. So that's his tombstone. Who posing with this tombstone? What you do when you're 16 or 17, yeah. Well, oh yes, and also while we were there, Gosynan songsters were invited to Swansea to sing with the songsters. So we sent for our uniforms, and my mum packed our uniforms up and sent them so that we could sing in Swansea. Oh, these the troops again, look. This is Scouser.
That was in Germany in the 94 club.
Right.
You got those, Martin?
Yeah. Right.
And then this is Stella again. she got one of her nephews with her, and this man we met in the pubs, and every Friday and Saturday night we went pubbing, and we came out, and this chap was always making up to her, and he'd always got a pipe on as well. He was a raff man, and he was really nice, Charlie. And he said, we came out of the pub one night, and he said, can I carry these papers for you? They're very heavy for you girls. So we said, well, we're all right, we're used to it, you know. So he said, well, I'd like to walk you round. And then he said to Stella, oops, this is my first office job. So where am I? There. No, is that me?
Yeah.
In the middle of the back row. I was the junior to all these ladies. I think that's me. And there's me in my little suit. And I knew her from school, and when that's how we met, and the day she got married I went down and did her hair. Me. And the bridesmaids, yes, before we went to the church. Can't believe I was invited to do that. Is that me again there?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was the dairy people, and the men, one of them was supervisor, and one was in the treatment room of the workers anyway, foreman.
You were saying that
The guy said to Stella.
yeah.
Oh yes, and he said to Stella, he said, I would like to be your friend, but with me have it liking a drink and smoking a pipe, and you're in the Salvation Army. He said, would that be a block to our friendship? So she didn't really know what to do with him, to be truthful, because he was older than her by quite a bit, wasn't he? She really didn't know what to do with him, you know, because it's a bit sudden out of the blue for an older man like that to ask a girl, because she'd only be probably 18 or 19. Anyway, she said she didn't mind being a friend, so we sort of treated him as a special friend, and then he was transferred, and so it was a friendship by letter, and he wrote me a letter. He had the most beautiful writing, perfect script, and I just wish I'd get the letter, really. It was so interesting, and really filled in all sorts of things, and really brought us up to date with what he was doing and where he was. And then he invited Stella, this is quite interesting, he invited Stella down to Andover, Vernham Dean, a little picturesque village with thatched cottages, and she would only go if she could take her friends. So she took Jean and another girl named Jean Nixon. So they all went down for these holidays, and then Jean met Dennis and brought Dennis back from Vernham Dean to meet her mum. And Dennis's sister still lives in Vernham Dean, and Jean Nixon went with another man named Cyril. So they all came back. Them two got married. Stella was still single, but she was still living with a widowed mum, and she was an odd girl really, but she would not go and live. She got engaged. She was engaged about 25 years, and then when her mum died, she packed all up. The house was sold and whatever happens to them, and she went to live in Burnham Dean, and she never came back to Newcastle again. That was a part of her life she finished, but she was true to her mum right to her dying day. And then she got married to Charlie, didn't she?
That guy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
to Charlie, yeah. And he had a blind man living with him, and they lived in a thatched cottage because he worked at the big manor house, Charlie did, and what was the other man? Arthur was a wood chopper. He was a woodman, and he'd chopped something up as well. I can't remember what it was now. He was a bit deformed, but his sight was going. So when Stella went down there to live, Charlie said they would find somewhere for Arthur, and she said, if Arthur goes, I'm not coming. She said, that's his home, and there's no way you're getting rid of him. So he stayed, and he stayed. We met him, a good old boy, and she finished up feeding him because he couldn't see what he was doing, and she fed him and everything, and he eventually died. And then poor Stella, I could tell you yards and yards about Stella, but I got a phone call one day, and this man said, hello, Joan. So I said, hello. He said, you know this? Isn't asked. No. Should I know? So he says, well, I've been talking about you all night. So he says, it's Cyril Chadwick. So I said, oh, Cyril, really? I said, what do you mean? So he said, I got a call to come to Stella. She was asking for me. And they were stationed in Bournemouth, weren't they? And she wanted Cyril to come to her. And so they talked all night about how she first met us when we came to Hill Street, and how she came to the army and everything. So he said, did you sleep well? And I said, yeah, I slept well, sort of thing. You know, your ears didn't burn, no. So he said, did you realise that she was at death's door? I said, well, no, but I knew how ill she was, because when we called on her previously, and she wasn't a letter writer, so you didn't get letters from her very often. So she died, and he did the funeral at Andover Corps, and we went down to that, didn't we, Ken? And yeah, so this old Stella, she keeps coming back into our lives all the time, yeah. Anyway, have I finished with Charlie now? Yes. Anyway, he died now then. He still lived. Stella died, and then he was on his own then for quite a while. Anyway, this is my mum and dad, and me and our Margaret, and I need to turn it around because I can't see. It's Bertha Proctor in the middle. She was a cadet. We had a group, about 40, weren't there? 40 to do one corps, Newcastle under Lyme.
1938.
Yes. And she was the sergeant at the college, and she came with this group, and we had her and another one, but we kept friends with her for years and years and years. And I went up to her home corps in, not Bolton, but somewhere up there, and she had me to go. She took me with her on one of her visits, and we went to see this lady, and I didn't realise at the time, but she says, Joan, I want you to sing to this lady. She was ill in bed, so I sang, and which apparently went down very well, and then I didn't see the lady again because I'd only gone on a holiday, but she died. She was on a deathbed, and apparently brought a lot of blessing to what I sang. Now that's our Margaret with the glasses. That's Ken's cousin, June, and just after Uncle Jack died, when Liz first came to Newcastle, she also did June's funeral as well.
All right.
That's my mum and dad by the cages. And that's Ken and I, obviously. I'm not sure where we were on that. It was a day out, and that's all we used to have. Now that was in Mark and Sarah's backyard in Beaumont Crescent. They'd just come to Coventry and they invited us up to the meeting one Sunday night, and so I took those pictures.
I can see Pauline, Shirley and Vicky all in one.
Really? Oh dear.
Yeah.
Now that's Pauline on a dedication shawl, but she always had that same expression. Pauline, she was either asleep or her mouth was wide open. Now we had a man that was a budding photographer, and he came to our house. And we had some giggles because it took him. We waited for him to click that camera, like we waited for that food today. And then he'd say, "Now keep your heads together," you know. And so you were leaning, and then he'd say, "Right, smile." Well, we'd messed about so long that we just didn't smile at all. And we got our Margaret and Dennis on one with us, and we're all leaning over like I don't think he could see.
And there's all this curtain here.
Yes, that's the only one we've got left now, but we have got quite a lot.
You look like your dad there, Martin. I can see Martin there.
That was, I think that was at Blackpool. One year when Ken was in the forces and his mum, they went to Blackpool every single year. And so Ken said, I'd like Joan to come with us this year. And so my mum agreed, and so I went, yeah. There's my mum with Pauline. And when they came back from Blackpool, they bought her this big black doll. So here we are all. This is me, nearly on. And now my mum is in my wedding uniform because once I'd had our Pauline, it didn't fit.
Right.
So I had that gorgeous uniform in a certain number serge that you chose to have, and never had the pleasure of wearing it. But fortunately, my mum did.
Yeah.
Right. Now my dad had these caravans out at Rill towing, and to get his clients to them, he built this bus. Believe it or not, he bought a chassis, built all the bus. He had the writing on the side all printed properly, you know, and the bus seats were actually from the bus garage.
Three-way chassis, Austin chassis, which is
There's the picture of it.
just the cab and the frame. And then I went up with him to the Potteries, which is PMT Motor Traction, scrapyard, and we got two buses there, and he took the sides and the roof off one bus, and I think there were 8 seats or 9 seats, and he built it on that chassis.
Amazing.
Yeah. Put some wooden doors on the back. Yeah, amazing.
So that's the end of our little book.
Is that any good? Is that a torch? Sorry, I was just thinking, is any good shining the torch on?
That's a put on my shining. Last side.
So Martin got some light on the subject.
There you go. That works better. Keep thinking.
Put my halo on. So here we are now in Southampton, where we went for our honeymoon. So whatever he did, I did, and likewise. And then we went over to the Isle of Wight one day, didn't we, on a ferry or something. So I think that's where these were taken. I don't know what I'm whispering in his ear on that one. Now this little place was in the country, the heart of the country. The grass when we went was this high. But my father, this was one of his business projects. Somebody had got this, so he had it, and it was a chalet style thing, you know. And as you can see, because it's quite nice, and we used to sleep there, didn't we? My mum and dad and us with Pauline, and I think she's in the arms of Mum somewhere here. And then the 3 of us, you know, taking pictures. You see Mum looking through the window actually on one. And there she is out in the deep grass. Yeah. Oh, Pauline, loads of pictures.
Beautiful little girl.
Yeah, you don't see many smiles off her though, do you really? We went back to Southampton when we got Pauline, so these are in, was that the seaside one? Oh no, these are seaside ones. Yeah. Yes, not very exciting, but I think curls were lovely. She was a very attractive child, but very serious. You didn't get many smiles out of Pauline. Now then, this is the dad's bus, and she's got this little dog, and here she's
Only a toy dog.
wearing... is that the one with my bonnet on? No, that's the one with my bonnet on, I think. She's pulling it, and she wanted to touch it, and I said, leave the bonnet, Pauline. So she pulled her face because I wouldn't let her touch it. But she was much happier when she had her daddy's cap on. Yeah. And there she is outside at the gate with her dad. This was a caravan holiday that we had one year. It wasn't Dad's caravan, it was somewhere else, wasn't it? I don't know where it was really. Yep, and that's Ken with Pauline. Now this was at Towing. We'd all been, and we'd been preparing these caravans for the season. The men did the exterior work, and we were washing all the crops and the pillows. Mum had taken a lot of the linen home, so we did all the cleaning, didn't we? So, and I think that's
Went for a
normal.
week, and then at the end of the week, when everything was clean, we had just one van and stayed there.
And we stayed there for and had a holiday.
Weekend.
Yeah. Yes. So that was before Norma and Eric had got Margaret, because we'd only got Pauline between us all then. Yeah, this is a caravan park we went to, and Pauline was playing with the children. Are we right, Martin?
Yeah, you keep going.
Now then, this was our caravan in Broad Lane. A nice big caravan.
That's nice, yeah.
There's our Pauline sitting outside on the lawn with all her dolls. She had about 13, which was quite marvellous. He's Shirley with Mum, a pregnant mum. And I've just been reading a letter from my mum, and it said, I'm glad to see you've got your feet up, sensible girl. So I'm doing my knitting. See the fruit in the bowl? Yeah, lovely caravan that was, beautiful. And big, and 2 doors, you see, because we had a back door and another door. Next caravan to us. But ours was a big caravan, brand new. I don't think that was brand new when they went in that. Do you, Ken? The couple, they were on the buses.
No, it wasn't, no. I think it was a sight van, actually.
And I see, really, we could have done that then, Ken, couldn't we? They told us we had to buy one. Because we wanted to have one of Dad's caravans back from the seaside. And they said, oh no, you have to have our vans. So we thought, it ought to be new, probably. £600 it cost.
There was a lot of money in there.
Yeah.
And we sold it for about 200 and something, I think.
325.
Yeah, 300, yes, I think you're right, Ken. And she had a high chair that made, you put it low, and so she could write on it or whatever. And then it could go high if she was in the caravan at the table. It was made of all wood. And here she is, look, and she's got one shoe on and one shoe off. I think the shoe's under the
Looks like
step. Busy little soul she was, yeah. And the time she fell and banged her head on these slabs. Oh, she had the marks, the imprint of the slabs. She always fell. She'd always carrying something. She'd have something in both hands, and when she fell, she just fell. And the
She broke a tooth once, didn't she?
yes, but that was with running and falling over, wasn't it? Yeah, but she did break a tooth, yes. Now then, that was our front lawn. And we hadn't got scissors. We'd only got normal scissors, and Ken went and he cut it all with scissors.
Wow.
And he had to, because it grew so big and the children would play. Well, I did a border of plants that you can see on some of them. And that was the other caravans at the top, and then we had to walk all the way up this thing, right up the road here to get to the toilets and fetch water. Now then, this is Margaret and Dennis with us. And look at me with heels on my shoes. Yes, they came and they stayed with us. There she is on her first baby photograph. And
Pauline.
yes, Pauline, yes. And
That's a nice picture.
so he said, do you want them all the same, or do you want 3 different shots? I said, oh, I'll have 3 different shots. And every one was the same. She looked just as gormless on every one, and you couldn't get her to smile. And we came to Coventry, Birmingham actually, to start with. That's the end, Martin, for those. Who is it?
It's you, but on some it doesn't look like you, does it?
I don't know.
I don't think it looks like you at all on that one.
Well, to be truthful, by the time you've looked and smiled and on all these, by the time you've finished, think, oh, when's it going to end? You know, there's 48 poses.
These look like you.
Yes, I think I'm just settling down at the
Right,
bottom.
yeah. I think your glasses
Yes.
make you look a little bit different.
Yeah, I think also I was a bit disappointed because the light got into so many and I couldn't even decide which one Dad would like. And that was a new look coat. It was a beautiful coat, and it was really down here, you know. I was so modern to wear that because it was new
Yeah.
for that particular year. A
Yeah.
good big warm coat. It was lovely. Yeah. I think
You
it was
look-
about 19, I think, when I had those taken. When Ken was in the 40s.
You look as if your skin's dark. You know, look,
Yeah.
in the same way that Victoria and
look
Caroline are. No, I don't think you look for. Well, maybe. No, but you do
It's
look.
got
no.
dark hair as well.
But you do in these pictures with the colouring. I think you
really?
look like you could be Mediterranean or something.
Oh, wow. I don't think I would have had a tan because I was always so pale. Very pallid.
I think these are lovely. These ones at the bottom, particularly.
So, I think that's it. But, having said that, you might be interested to see this because this is postcards from Newcastle. And the Stubbs walks that you need to take it with you to look at. I mean, there's pictures of Clayton here, really old. And that is Clayton. We went up there. That's that big road where Ken lost his tooth.
Oh yeah.
And that's when those cadets came, and we were at Buckmaster Avenue. And so Bertha used to call it Grumble Bank because she said as soon as Martin, as soon as our Derek put his foot on the pavement to come up this hill, he moaned. So she says, oh, this is called Grumble Bank, you know. She was a North Country woman. But those houses are still there today. We've passed them today.
Right.
Yeah, it's incredible, isn't it, really? And that's the new road, Newcastle under Lyme there. I thought that's where you lost your tooth.
No, that's
I
Priory
didn't
Road.
think it was this. Yes, it is. But that was all new. There's some beautiful pictures in here. And you can recognise where you are. We've come round this corner tonight coming from Jean's.
It's page
Come
8.
up here. Yes.
So later.
Oh, yes, if you... I suppose I ought to have numbered them really for you. It's very time consuming. Now look, there's St Giles Church without trees
With the flagpole.
and a flagpole. I don't know whether that was. I don't think that was the pole and the flag Ken put up.
Just tell us the flagpole also because we didn't get it on record too early on. It was when you were going with the torch bearers, wasn't it?
Yes.
Is that right? So just tell us that story.
This is quite a few places. We went to the fire station and had a slide down the pole and that sort of thing. Didn't you, Di?
No,
Oh,
I
right,
didn't go down
right.
the pole.
And then that was when we went to St Giles's and we had a conducted tour and finished up at the top of the tower. And apparently this bloke asked every group that came, they wanted somebody
That's
to put the
Giles
flag up.
Church.
Nobody
That's
ever
that block of
took him
shops
up on
with
it. So.
Wednesdays we told you about in my grandfather's shop.
So you ended up.
Yeah.
It's still there after all
The other
these years.
straw, you
That was
know.
taken in 1920. That old church stood there and rang its bells. And that's another one coming along there as well. Yeah, there's some lovely pictures in this book. I've looked at it many times. So here we are. Do you remember that today?
It's page 17.
Yes. Well, this was that was the Guildhall. You see, it's called Guildhall now, and the cross. There, they used to do that for, and the old town hall and marketplace is there. I'm sure, you know, just looking at these cards, the postcards, you see, that have been mounted in the book, and that is the High Street. That's 19, and all the old cars and the market stalls, you see, and there's the clock. It's absolutely fabulous, really.
Well, it is to us.
It is to us, yeah. Yeah. It's a civic procession in the Iron Market. That's where we stood and waited for Martin to run his film back. The Iron Market all the way down to the gardens at the bottom.
That's page 25.
That's page 25. Yeah, and that is the Iron Market there. See all the shops with the blinds down to keep the sun off the goods. Yeah. So that's the town municipal hall, you see. That big clock, you know where we came out of the gardens today and saw what was the post office and now it's Wetherspoons.
Yeah.
That big clock was the other side of the road, you know. And we used to get off the bus further along where the swimming pool was. And I'd say to Ken, what time is it on the clock? And he'd tell me what time it was. I couldn't even see the clock. And one night, he must have been a bit off that day, and he said, what do you always ask me what time it is for on that clock? I said, because I can't see it. Well, you don't realise your sight's going. You don't realise the change in your own eyesight. You think everybody sees what you see. And he got a bit cross with me, so I don't ask him again. I said, I only ask you because my father will be ready, and you know, and I needed to run if I was going to be late in. I think my time was 10 o'clock.
That's 28.
Yes, and the municipal hall, yes, you'll see that. That's Queen Victoria's statue, you see, and it was in a different place than it is today. Look at all the people there, with the voters and everything. Yeah. That's Queen Victoria's statue as well. There is she is, look, standing tall right up there. And they moved her from over there and put her in the garden, which I think is rather nice. Now, this is the gardens just here, look, but there's that national school there.
Right, page
We never
32.
knew anybody that went to the national school, did we? And this is Nelson Place, which is all that area there was called Nelson Place. That's the King Street, a congregational church, and that's the one up on Liverpool Road. And I said my cousin was very active in that church, especially with young people. Yeah. That's the Ebenezer Church. Now that was a beautiful church. Auntie Jean was married at that church because she didn't want to be married at the army. Now look at East Hassel Street children. So that's the school, 1911. Is that what it said today?
1881.
1881. That picture was taken in 1991.
Cool.
Hassel Street School. This is London Road, and this is where that church, big black church, was put here.
Yeah.
Well, we've been up there today and gone round there to Hassel Street.
Wow. More sparse in those days, that's for sure.
Yeah. And that is the church, Holy Trinity, London Road. That's the Stubbs Walks. That's the one Martin was talking. Your dad was talking about going to that, weren't you, Ken?
Station.
St Paul's. Oh, Station. That was the Home Girls' School. That's the one our Margaret went to. It was a high school. You know, you had high or grammar. And Margaret went to high, and now Derek went to Newcastle High. And Raymond went to the grammar school, which is a very impressive building and still there. It's beautiful. And I went to elementary, never went to a special school. And that's Liverpool Road, where we used to live, and the little houses, and they came back to back with the Upper Green, so that's it isn't under the ring road, but it all had to come down, and then they built those little townhouses there, didn't they? Yes. Now then, this is the Ashfield Sunday School. but it wasn't New Ashfields, that was the old Ashfields, and that is where we had our wedding reception for over 100 guests at the Ashfields. Yes,
Wow, page
because they got
50.
a big place. And these were nice, these parks that you walked right through. There's the Stubbs walks, and then you came out, crossed a main road, and you went through the next lot. But you could really cut out the town if you were going to over there, sort of thing. You know, you didn't have to go all round the town.
Yeah.
But
Like a walking bypass, really.
it was,
Right.
yes, in the parks, and there was a big cannon, wasn't there?
Yes. Big cannon and a big tank from the First World
That's
War.
right. Yes,
The tank isn't there anymore, but the cannon is in the museum.
yes. That's where Liz and David had their wedding photographs taken. And this is the Brampton.
Excuse me.
And then, now that's come out of Newcastle and gone up to Maybank and the Marsh. If I can find, yes, some old cottages. Yeah, I mean, some of these roads have not changed in all these years, which is marvellous, really. You know, they look a bit more modern, and all the men had caps on and the ladies always had hats on. High Street, Woolstanton. My granddad came from Wales, you know, got Welsh blood in me, I think. Then the name was Worgan, not Morgan, Worgan, and he came to work at Woolstanton Colliery because they needed miners and the mines in Wales were closing down. I'm not sure what part of Wales they came from, actually. My cousin would tell me because he's done the family tree.
Probably why it looks a bit Mediterranean on those pictures.
Perhaps it
The Welsh
is.
blood.
Perhaps that's why I could sing. I can't sing anymore, so I lost my voice a long time ago. I think we're getting near the end, Martin. You must be really tired.
So is that why I had the Martin with the Y spelling? Because is that a Welsh thing, is it, or what?
Well, no, not really. Just that it was different, and it wasn't a name I chose really, but everybody else wanted it, and so I wanted Ian.
Ian.
Just a little name, you know, because Pauline, she wasn't shortened to Paul until later on in life. But and Shirley, Shirl, Pauline, Paul, and I just, for a boy, I thought Ian. He wants a simple name, and I was Shirley says, well, I won't call him Ian. She did. She did. So I thought, oh dear, I'm outnumbered here, well and truly. And I think it was you, wasn't it, that said Martin? So I said, well, if it's Martin, it's going to be Martin with a Y. I thought it was a bit posh. And then we did that, and then the same year, Gordon Lee's wife had a boy and called him Martin with a Y. Spitting feathers I was.
Y as well. Was he with the Y as well?
Yes, the copy does.
So then did you change it to an I?
No, not exactly.
Y-I.
Yeah. Why are you?
As in Ian.
Now there's our Raymond School. Look at that, and it looks just as good today.
Does it?
Yeah,
That's on page 88, County Grammar School,
yeah.
Woolstanton. That does look grand.
It does
Yeah.
really. Yes, it's really very, very nice. I don't know the year. Oh well, it was only opened in 1928. So he went there, which had only been open about 10 or 12 years. But having said that, it's still impressive today, and you don't get too close to it, so you see it as you're passing by, you know. So you might get close and find it's crumbling. I don't know. Yes,
That's same as old as me. It's common.
absolutely. Well, you've already crumbled, Ken. Yeah. You know we're cracking up between. Yeah, these are Chesterton now. You see London Road and Chesterton. And these shops are still here on this corner. This is where the traffic lights are today, I think, that we came down. We went round the back. But, yeah, oh dear. That's London Road, Chesterton as well. It looks a bit like the army, that does. Crowd in the road. And Dragon Square, that's at the top. Chesterton Old Hall and the Holy Trinity Church. Chesterton Post Office, and I bet that's still there. Yes. It's a great book.
They produce a lot of them, don't they, in different places?
Yeah.
There's certainly one for Arnold.
Is there?
Oh,
Yeah.
With the cards, yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's all they are, but all your details here, you
Yeah, it's
see.
very good.
And Dad went to the museum hoping to be able to see bigger
You've got
pictures.
more pictures. Really.
Or more.
You haven't.
But it really is good.
Yeah.
I don't think it went as far as Audley, did it, Ken? Because I've gone to Silverdale and so, yeah. No, I think that's it.
Very good.
Okay. I have got a picture of my school photograph. Was it you I told, or Sue? It was you. I've got a picture when I was at a school, the only school picture. And I'd got little thin ringlets. My hair was always long and little thin, though, you know, not nice thick one. And I said to Rihanna a few weeks ago, who's this? And she said, Nanny. And look, that's her nanny, see, I'm Nana, as her mum is.
Right, okay.
And she says, it's Nanny.
Yeah.
And I said, is it? So I said, you go and see Nanny then and tell her. So ask her who it is, see if she knows. So she says, oh, that's Nana. She said, no, it's you. So that's incredible, my child picture. Yeah.
Well, when I see those pictures, I see a lot of Pauline
Yeah. Poor girl.
But for the first time, I saw Martin and you on the picture. I mean, not that I can't see any resemblance. I can, of course, but when I look at Shirley's pictures when she was younger, I just think her and Martin's face are the same.
Yeah. When they were young, they were very much alike, and now they're really nothing alike. You know, Martin's changed quite a bit.
Right.
And much slimmer, and Shirley's got more round like her mother. And a lot of people say they see Martin and Ken, say, oh, you're Ken's son, but you don't see it yourself, you know.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I can see why people would say, oh yeah, you know, when they meet you for the first time, you can tell that you're Martin's dad. But as far as if you look at in detail at your faces, I don't think
there's any like
that alike really. But on that picture, the professional one, I can really see Martin you there.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. But I think Shirley's like you more. I think. Do you think so?
Well, everybody that sees Shirley said, oh, you like your mum. I'm not sure she's too pleased, really, but she never appeals to be, seems to be too pleased. But now, our two girls were sitting on the settee looking at the television once, and I was sitting over there, and as I glanced at their expressions as they were really watching this television, and I thought, good gracious, if I drew a pencil like that, and the lips and the chin would have been identical, and yet face to face on, and you think, no, they're not really that alike. But the profile was incredible, absolutely incredible. Yeah.
It is very interesting, isn't it?
It is. Yeah.
To look in my songbook, because I did have a slip with favourite songs in.
Yeah.
Amplifier.
You listen to this and you should play this as well.
And I've just got a printed little paper. I keep lots of choruses. If we give them the sheet, I'll keep them. If they appeal to me, I'll stick them on the kitchen cupboard and in my books and everything. I couldn't find anything I wanted when I was looking a couple of nights ago. But I've just got this one card, and it had got Aberfather and another one. So I started singing that, and I found myself singing it and whistling it all night. I went to bed and slept, got up yesterday morning, and I was still singing Aberfather. And I thought, that's got to go on. It's almost a haunting sort of sound, isn't
But
it?
it's ideal for a background piece, wouldn't it?
Yes. I don't know that I'd want it all the way, because I think I'd want something a bit jazzed up. But I mean, we both find it very difficult to choose favourite songs and music, don't we? Because we just like it all. Yeah.
Yeah, I've got a songbook with about 30 or 40 favourite songs, just the numbers that I would pick out for an open air or just for myself to read or something like that, you know. But I wouldn't say that it was my favourite, but it just means something to me at the time.
Sure, yeah.
Or favourite for that situation
that's
of
right,
being in an open air. Like Invitation,
Yeah.
from the Invitation section probably. Yeah. And I didn't realise, but I was whistling the other week and the decorator was there and he says, "Has somebody come in?" That means somebody whistling. And I hadn't greeted anybody and he'd got our front door wide open.
Right.
He was painting the doors in the hall. And so I said, "Oh, it's me, I'm sorry." So, yeah. And Ben says, "Nanny, you're always whistling, aren't you? But I can never tell anything. I don't recognise any of them tunes." I said, "Well, I don't think you would, Ben. I thought you haven't been to the right place to recognise my tunes."
I'm trying to think of some of the ones that you we sang one in one of our services. We don't sing a lot from the Red Tune Book, or it's often the similar kind of ones, really, the songbook. But
Songs to songs, I think we sing the band.
Yeah, I like songs to songs.
yeah.
And I had one of the worship tapes on this week, and so your dad said, "Well, let him play that." I said, "But that isn't my favourite one." But you know, I mean, there's one. It's the one I think where they shout and say the band's coming in and all that in one side of the tape. I don't know whether you remember. Do you recognise that?
Is it What Almighty God? And you've got
Something, yeah.
clap before him and you've got clapping going on.
Yes,
Sing before him.
Yeah. And I'll tell you the other one that I'd love on the tape, and that's where it's very old.
Oh yeah, we got the violin.
Yes.
Be There My Vision.
No.
No.
Turn Your Eyes Upon Jesus.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, it was so
That's the one I
beautiful.
thought you meant. Oh,
I love that, but that wasn't. Was that on that tape?
I've no
the other
idea.
day,
I
on the
don't
other
know
side?
what tape's what.
It's
but
the same one as
It's on
the
the
shouting
CD.
and singing and clapping
Yeah.
one.
Yes.
It's the same
Yeah.
CD.
Yeah, What Almighty God We Serve.
One side is my favourite, but it's that one with that. I think
Yeah.
that violin and it's
very good,
so
isn't it?
beautifully done.
But that would be ideal as a background to when you're watching something. I thought, and I
But
didn't
this,
know.
how many hours will this condense to on a CD?
Well, I mean, what we can do is have what I'm having my mind to do, and I think I can do this, is on a DVD you can watch it all the way through, or you can have
Chapters.
chapters basically.
Oh, right.
So you've got something that says some of our favourite songs, and you can click onto
Oh,
that and
right.
just listen like an
Oh,
audio
yes,
CD.
yeah,
They'll
yeah.
play through your telly.
Yeah.
Others will be, some pictures of where we grew up, like schools and stuff, and
Right.
when we got together and where we lived,
Yeah,
kind of thing.
yeah.
So it could be in chapters like that.
Yes.
It depends what. I don't really know how until we got the information together and have a look at it and see how it
that's
fits
right, yeah.
together. So it'd be good to have some music in the background.
Yeah.
Maybe not in all of it, but
And I think when I was a child in Sunday school years ago, and when I ever sing it, and I love to sing it, and we only just do it once in a while, but it's All Things Bright and Beautiful, the old tune, and He gave us eyes to see and lips that we might tell. And I just feel the bubble up inside, just like a little kid. I just remember it so well in primary, So I said to your dad, that's one I wouldn't mind on, because the memories are there, with the early days. And
Yeah.
I mean, it's so sort of simple but beautiful.
Yeah.
with a special.
Yeah, and they are special because yes, whenever we sing that, All Things Bright and Beautiful, and I feel all all excited and excited, you know.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, my mind goes straight back to the primary,
Yeah.
the Newcastle, and it was a dingy little room downstairs. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's the kind of thing.
Memory's wonderful, isn't
It
it?
is.
Yeah, it is.
Absolutely wonderful.
And there's a little kid inside all of us, isn't there?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
There is, yeah.
Yes, because there's some things that just, you get that delight, don't
That's
you?
right. Yeah.
And yet if you wanted to tell somebody that, you wouldn't, unless you come in to think, I've had this in my mind, even though I haven't felt like doing anything about it this last fortnight. And I said to your dad, when Martin had spoken, and he said, so get some thoughts together, Mum, and choose some music and do this and that. And I said to Ken, oh dear, he wants me to get some music together. And I felt so rotten I hadn't got the strength to even think, let alone do anything. So it sort of panicked me a little bit at first. But this week I've been on, and I was worried about about getting ready for this weekend. But this week, as I say, since I've had me inhale, I've got to do that in a minute. And I started to feel more like myself, so that's
You
good.
feel better in yourself,
Yeah,
makes a difference,
yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah.
That's good. It's not,
Yeah,
And it's been a good day today, Benjamin.
it's
Yeah,
been
yeah,
lovely
yeah, very
today.
good.
It has
Yeah.
been nice.
I've
Yeah,
enjoyed it.
and I think tomorrow could be just as good as well.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm